Everybody's seen Captain Rob Dixon around the pool. One of my longtime swimming master swimmers there, and one of the only people to complete the Alligator Lighthouse swim every damn year by himself. So the Iron Man himself, Captain Rob Dixon.
Yeah. Is that why you call me a long-time swimmer? Because it takes me a long time to get out there and back. I don't quit.
I wasn't going to say you're there for a good time. You're there for a long time, but that's all right.
I get my money's worth.
Exactly.
By the hour.
And then our very good friend and nutritional guru here, Carolyn Whiteman, who most of you may know already. If you don't, you will. She and Rob have helped me kind of facilitate this. We've been talking about this for a long time, and I know those of you that have been on the pool deck with me have heard me talk about this for a long time. But I guess ever since I saw Vicky's parents bring in the first dozen donuts to practice after practice, I think this has been in the works since then. But we just wanted to spend a little bit of time together and maybe be able to answer some questions on what we can do to help our swimmers that are training so hard right now, and help them kind of continue along that path and take it to the next level, because that's what it's all about. And we talk about that a lot in practice and at swim meets. When you are trying to qualify for a meet, whether it's BB championships or JOs or sectionals or junior nationals or whatever we're trying to do, what we're trying to do is take it to the next level. And so what we're here for today is to see if there's anything that we can do, that we know we can do, to help you guys in that process towards the next level. Just a quick story to my parents and swimmers out there. Some of you may not know, by looking at my girlish figure these days, that once upon a time, there was a day when I couldn't gain a pound if I tried. And it's when I was your age. I was in high school. I can remember being recruited for college. And when my future college coach, Don Gamble from the University of Alabama, came up to my house in Arkansas, and I signed my letter of intent to go to the University of Alabama, I was about 6'2", maybe 6'1.5", and all of 142 pounds or something like that. I was as skinny as I could be. And a lot of that had to do that. I was kind of like Corley. I was a distance swimmer in high school. I was training my butt off and couldn't gain a pound if I tried. Wish I still had that problem now, but that's another story. So literally, when my coach came to my house to sign my letter of intent, this was in April of my senior year of high school. He told me one thing. He told me to, he said, from now, every day, from now until the day you set foot on my campus, before you go to bed, I want you to eat 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and a glass of whole milk. I said, all right, coach, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. And so I did, literally. Still couldn't gain a pound. But that was, what, 30 years ago? Oh my gosh, yeah, 30 something years ago, aging myself. The advancements in nutrition have come so far since that day. But the point of the story is that we still want, we still need to get some protein into our swimmers' bodies after a workout. It's so important. Oh, look at that picture.
There you have it.
Look what I found.
1998 World Championships in Perth, Australia.
Good find, Carolyn.
Anyway, it's very important. One of the things we're talking about, obviously overall nutrition, and there's a lot of things that we can point on, but getting some protein into our swimmers' bodies as soon as we can after a workout to help them recover and be able to bounce back for the next workout is one of the most important things out there. And that's what my coach was really trying to tell me in eating those PB&Js after evening practice and before I go to bed. He's trying to help me recover and build some muscle before I got to his campus. And ultimately, once I finally figured out how to do that, that's when I really start to see some improvements coming. So that is one of the most important things. But basically, at this age of our swimmers being anywhere from 13 to 16, you're only getting out of your body what you put into it. And I guarantee there's not a single person on this call today, swimmers or parents, that are getting what you need from your plate of food at dinner. Your body is yearning and screaming for so much more. And so there's got to be something we can do to help supplement that. And so that's what we wanted to try to put out there, maybe get some questions stirring in your heads, so we can answer some questions, whether it be tonight or in the future. But we really wanted to just start this ball rolling because it is so important.
John, you want me to take a couple of, I'll fill in a little bit. And for those
Absolutely.
of you who
Please.
don't know, I actually connected with John when our son was a high school swimmer also. And so this was going on. He actually got me back in the water. So I swam with the masters and do so off and on. My highest time, I think, was about doing 3,200. And I thought, holy cow, this is like more than this is what Rob does in his sleep. And I want you guys to hear some of that story. But I think there are two important things that would be interesting to all of you about the transitions that John has talked about in his own career about using nutritional supplements and adding additional things to a training. Because originally, John, you were saying that when you were training that using any kind of supplements was basically banned. And that was because of safety. And so would
Absolutely.
you like to tell the story with Kicker maybe?
Well, I've got a couple quick stories, and I'll try to keep them brief. It really wasn't until later in my career that athletes were starting to take supplements to enhance their training and their performance. I can remember one of the first companies that we got hooked up with, and this is how scary it is and how little we as athletes and even coaches back then knew. And this is going back 20 years ago. We got connected with a company. I was training with a group of 12 athletes for the Olympic trials in 2000. Gary Hall Jr. was one of them. Anthony Irvin, who's another multiple-time Olympic medalist, just won the 50 free at the last Olympics. He was another one. We got connected with this company, and we didn't ask. Our coach said, "Hey, you need to take these," and we started mixing shakes after practice and taking handfuls of pills, and then realized we're reading the containers that these things were coming in, and right there on the container it says, "For equine use only." And we're thinking, well, yeah, hey, coach, what are you giving us there? And so many athletes were taking so many products out there at the time. We actually had a very, very close friend of ours, Kicker Wenzel, who was on the national team with us. And he actually tested positive for a banned substance. At that time, and even more so now, once you hit the national level type scene, you have to put yourself on the map for random drug testing. And literally, they can come knock on your door anytime and ask you for a sample. When we trained out in Phoenix that summer, I was literally out with my wife and my daughter. Gabby was 6 years old at the time. We were out at a Mexican restaurant having dinner, and the hostess from the restaurant came up to our table and said, "Are you Mr. Olson?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I'm sorry, sir, but there's a couple of people waiting at the door to see you." And I walked up there, and sure enough, it was the drug testing people, and I had to go pee in a cup in the bathroom of this Mexican restaurant, because it doesn't matter where you are, they want to come test you, and they don't really care what you're taking. They're looking for banned substances. And so our friend Kicker Wenzel went through the same thing. I doubt he had to pee in a Mexican restaurant bathroom, but I from what I remember, he was at home and they came to his house. He had no problems because he knew he wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't taking any steroids or anything like that. Well, a week later, they call him and tell him that, yeah, he tested positive. And this is leading up into the Olympic trials in 2004. And he was banned, never even got his shot to go to the Olympic trials. And we asked him, Kicker, what are you doing, man? You're such a good athlete. You're training so hard. Why do you need to take a banned substance in order to get ahead? And he said, I didn't. He said, I went to a GNC store and bought a protein powder off the shelf at the GNC store. And it was a brand he had never heard of, whatever it was. But a lot of those companies back in the day, and still to this day, they develop these products, but then they farm it out to another company to package all their products. And they could be packaging, clean products or tainted products one day and putting it all through the same system. So we think what happened to our friend Kicker was he bought what he thought was a clean product, and it had traces of steroids in it. And that showed up on his drug test, and he lost his chance at ever swimming in the Olympics or the Olympic trials. So, when we're talking about looking at products to take, the two most important things to look for is it a company that's safe, and is it a product that works? Two most important things, bar none. Because there have been other instances. Yes, Jessica Hardy, the same thing. There have been other instances where people thought they were taking clean products, and it just so happened there's a trace of something banned in there, and that's it. Because the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, doesn't really care about your sob story of, hey, I'm really an honest person. I just took something that I didn't know was in there. They don't care. If they find something in your sample, you're out, period. And not only that, but it's one thing to get tested positive, but it's another thing to put something in your body that's not good for you. All right. So some of these products that are putting out, or companies that are putting out, bad products, it's not only not going to help you get where you're going, it could actually do some damage to your body. And so we want to make sure that there's something clean and healthy and proven into your body. So that's what we're talking about there.
John, do you want to mention when John and I first met, for those of you, we started this conversation, and I remembered that the Shackley Company, which I've been associated with for decades, had been recently working with some of the Olympic athletes. And I had just met an Olympic swimmer who had come home with a gold medal. And I had been with him at a conference, and this was when John was still, I don't know about different products. And I said, David Fox, does that mean anything to you? You want to tell that story?
Yeah, sure. David was an Olympic teammate of mine. He and I trained together for 2 years, swam on a relay together in the Olympics, broke a world record together. Actually, if you can see this, maybe right there. Yeah, I think that's our world record certificate right there that we broke together. We were on the 400 freestyle relay together many times, but in 95 when we broke the world record, and then in 96 when we won the gold medal. But yeah, David was also a very, very lean, very skinny sprinter from North Carolina. And when we went to start training in Colorado at altitude, he was suffering. I mean, suffering big time. Could barely finish a workout. And so one of his roommates, actually, a guy named Judd Crawford, whose mother worked for this company, sent him out some products, and David started getting on these products and was able to recover, because we were training so hard, one, but two, training so hard at altitude, which really depleted your system. And so, yeah, David finally got some healthy products in him and was able to recover and come back and win a gold medal. So we've got story after story after story about how this can help all of you, and that's why we're talking right now.
Well, and just to sort of complete this part, my intention, along with Rob's, I want Rob to be able to tell his story, but our intention is to hopefully open up some questions for you And the idea will be that between John and Rob and me, we'd like to just get together with everyone individually and see what their questions are, because this isn't a presentation to try to get you to do something. This is an education,
Exactly.
an education. And
Yep.
the two qualities that I think that John mentions are the most important about why he would recommend anything. And that is, he wants to have products that are safe for everyone competitively and also for our families, and also to have some products that work. So since John and I first met and back years ago, the Shackley company has now sponsored what's called the Shackley Pure Performance Team, which has over 100 Olympians that have earned 146 Olympic medals training on these products.
Yep.
So if we feel like we've got safety and proof, and so from that comes any conversations and recommendations and suggestions that we would make.
Well, and the reason and I would like to break this down for all the parents out there, because I know you drop your kids off at the pool. Some of you know what's going on with practice. Some of you don't. But for instance, last week, my gold group swam 45,000 yards for the week, not including all of our dry land before practice every day. Waking up early in the morning before school. But 45,000, we're going to top 50,000 this week, and we're going to keep climbing for the next couple of weeks as well. So with that type of volume, recovery days are extremely valuable. You've got to have time to let your body recover. And that's why we haven't been swimming on a Saturday just yet, because I want those full 48 hours for these athletes to recover before Monday, because I'm asking them to perform every single day of the week. So it's really important. But not only that, it's important to try to do whatever we can to recover between each of those days. And so we can perform on a daily basis. Everybody goes through cycles, and we may have a great day and then a not so great day the next day. But if you can do something to make every workout a great day, that's when you're really going to see the benefits, and you're going to get ahead.
Should we share a couple of the kind of symptoms that probably people experience?
Sure.
And this is just kind of frivolous stuff, but does anybody come home grumpy after practice? Does anybody after a workout feel so tired that they can't even eat?
Oh, no, can't eat. No, I never had that problem.
Or maybe that what they're eating, well, I think that's the next one. Can't really stay focused. I mean, my gosh, 45,000 is just extraordinary. Do we come back after practice craving for things that usually are not the ones that are the best choices?
Yeah.
So probably not going to be creating gold medal performances. Anybody have any experiences with cramping?
Just get off of it.
Headaches of any kind? And then probably one of the
Bingo.
more challenging ones is, do we get to a place where we can't recover in time for the next event?
And that can mean the next practice or the next event in a meet. I mean, because all my swimmers know, the way meets are nowadays because of COVID. There's not that many people on the deck. There's not as many people in each session. I mean, you're swimming event after event after event, sometimes 3 of them as fast as you can go within an hour, right? So what are you going to do to help recover for the next event?
And then, of course, taking care to make sure that we stay healthy.
Exactly.
Because what's worse than being sick at just the time that the event happens? Are there any questions about that? Do you, John, you want to fill in anything or see what questions?
I got one quick one about being sick. because it's a huge thing, especially this past year with the pandemic going on. Everybody's looking to build their immune system and try to stay away from the virus and do whatever we can to stay healthy. It really sucks to get sick and miss an event, and I can tell you that from experience. Coralie, Abby, you girls are working your way up the ladder right now and talking about, we've been talking about shooting for sectionals and futures and junior nationals. I was in the same boat when I was your age. I can remember when I made my first senior nationals, my first USA nationals. I was ready to go for the meet. Wasn't feeling well 2 days before we were supposed to fly out to California. My coach said, you need to go see the doctor. Mom took me to the doctor, found out I had mono. I was in bed for 3 months and had to watch, my first U.S. nationals on TV. I couldn't be there. And that made me sick, literally made me sick. So there's things that we can do to try to boost your immune system to try to keep you from getting sick. Because what would you feel if you trained for an entire season, worked your butt off, and right before your championship meet at the end of the season, you get sick? It happens. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, but if there was something you can do about it, you guarantee you would.
Yeah. So some of the real key core components obviously have to do with what we're basically eating on a daily basis. And, we can go into lots more details on that, but that's just the kind of choices that we get to make. One of the second things has to do with hydration. You want to say something about that one, John?
Well, I know for a fact that hydration can affect every system within your body. If you're dehydrated, think of how the blood flows through your body. Your blood's a liquid. If you don't have enough liquid in your body, your blood's not pumping through your body at the same rate that it should. You're not delivering oxygen and nutrients to your muscles at the cellular level. If you're dehydrated, you're going to cramp. You're going to, there's lots of things. Captain Rob told me earlier today, he found a stat that said 75% of the people on the face of this earth are dehydrated in some type of way. 75%. Think of the other 75. Your body is made up of 75% water. If you're dehydrated, it is literally affecting your brain function, your circulatory function, your digestive system. It's affecting everything. So just from dehydration. And the most important thing to remember is if we were lacrosse players, well, then we should shout out to Vicky there. But if we were lacrosse players, you'd be running around on that field outside and you'd be pouring sweat and realizing you were sweating and hydrating as much as you can because you're sweating. We don't realize it because we're wet and in the pool and a little bit cooler because we're in cool water. We don't realize it, but you sweat just like those lacrosse players out on the field. You've got to hydrate to keep your body functioning at its maximum level.
And that brings us to recovery. You want to say something about that?
I think that's all I've been talking about for the past 20 minutes
Yep.
here is, we need to, it's all in a sport of swimming. It's all about the work you put in. Whatever you're putting in, that's what you're going to get out. And that's what we've seen over this past year. We've been fortunate to be able to train our butts off since last May or even before. And we're seeing those benefits now in results, not only in meets, but in practice. I mean, we're swimming faster in practice now than we ever have. But in order to continue that, it's got to be on a daily basis. And the best way to maximize tomorrow's workout is to recover after today's workout. And so there are ways that we can do that, and we're going to figure that out here real soon.
So maybe the thing to do is we can certainly take some questions, but what I thought would be helpful is maybe hear from Rob and his experience, and then we don't want to take a lot of time in the middle of the week and as I said, Rob and I are available to support John and all of you, probably with an individual opportunity to just get together and answer questions at a time that works for you. Is that what you think, John?
Yeah, no, I think that's best. I would like to hear if anybody's got any questions for tonight. I'll have something to hand out to everybody tomorrow, just some bullet points on what we talked about tonight. And then if anybody has any questions or wants to set up some time, we would love to get together with you and answer a little more in-depth questions. But let's maybe if Rob wants to share his story real quick, and then we'll open it up for any questions and
Sure.
get everybody out of here for the night.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to take it too long, but I'll wrap it up. And some of you know it, but most of you don't, I think. But I've been swimming at Founders Park for 20 years. It's an amazing facility. We're so lucky to have such an awesome place for us older folks to swim, and the little rockets down there, watch all these guys, the future Olympians or, scholarship winners and that. So it's exciting for us to get to see that taking place in the pool. But and to have Coach John, to have somebody that's that accomplished in the sport, and to have, you're hearing it from the best, and, you're getting pointed in the right direction. But and we started Friends of the Pool, which most of you know, we're helping keep the programming going, stipends, scholarships for aquatic athletics, and on and on. So that's what we raise money with for our swim. And we appreciate all the help they give us throughout that. But my quick story, my nutritional story, was about 18 months ago. I was doing the workouts, my masters, 3 days a week, 3,000 meters. And I was just doing them. I was just getting through the workouts. Wasn't anything special, wasn't getting any faster, wasn't feeling great. And I was probably 25 pounds overweight. I was, all of a sudden, I'm, not feeling great, needing a nap every day, and, trying to figure out what's going on. I reached out to my good friend Carolyn, who I've known for years. I said, I know she's in the nutrition business. I gotta, figure out what's going on here. I can't keep going this direction. Need to have more energy. And after we talked for a while, I discussed what I was doing, and she recommended the Prove It Challenge, which is a Shackley program where you cleanse for 7 days. It's fruits and vegetables and some supplements, but it basically resets your body. Coach John's done it, and we've helped 25 other people do it. But the first couple of days, obviously, I was skeptical. I'm like, well, okay, we'll see if this works, whatever. So the second, third day, I'm like, wow, I'm down 8 pounds after a couple of days. And like the third day, I think my energy was just off the charts, more energy than I've had than I can remember. So after the week, I ended up down 15 pounds and kept it off. You take the high-end supplements after that and throw a shake in, a protein shake, and it stayed off. And since then, I've lost another 10 pounds. So I'm down to 25 pounds. I'd still like to trim a little more off. But then I asked Carolyn after that, well, what else you got? I said, I'm swimming pretty hard now, and I'd like to see what you have. And I started on the Hydrate, which is an amazing product. And all of a sudden my cramps went away that I would probably get daily when I was not a great kicker, but my legs would cramp up for some reason. Anyway, that helped quite a bit. And I got onto the after workout, the Build protein supplement, which was awesome. And you could feel it in the next workout that you were better, you were stronger. Another short story is I ran out of the recovery pill. There's a nighttime recovery pill that has tart cherry and a bunch of other natural ingredients in it. And I do my supplement boxes for 2 weeks. And I just didn't realize it. But 1 week I just felt really bad, wasn't feeling great. Muscles were sore. And it was about the third or fourth swim that week. And I realized that I didn't have any of that recovery. I'd run out, and I didn't fill my second week with the recover. So, my body told me it needed it, and it definitely works. So anyway, since then it's, I'm setting, John can tell you, not keeping up with these speed demons in the pool, but certainly at 60, I just turned 60, and I'm setting my best times for my 50s, my 100s, my 200, my 400, and I'm hoping to have my best time for the Lighthouse swim. And I just signed up for my first triathlon in about 15 years. I'm going to do an Olympic distance triathlon at Pennicamp, May 23rd. So I'm out biking and running as well now. So we're trying to keep up with all that, and, thank God for the nutritional products. They're helping me.
There you go.
Keep myself going.
There you go.
Awesome. So John, you want to take any questions or
Anybody have any questions? Unmute yourself. If you got a question, anything that's on your mind, shoot.
Hey, John, it's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, is there any type of time window where we should be getting protein in them after a workout? Because we bring them home and then we cook dinner, and it could be an hour or more.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And actually, research has shown that to get some type of protein in their system within 30 minutes after a workout is the optimum time to do it. Obviously, it's not the only protein you need at night. You still want to go home and eat a well-balanced dinner.
Sure.
But yes, and that's why if you look at any of these college teams or professional athletes that are training right now, they have something on the deck ready to go. Last time I went back from my Alabama swimming reunion, they had just refurbished the entire aquatic center. And in the locker room, they actually built a nutrition station. So literally, as soon as those guys get out of the water, head to the locker room for their shower, they pick up their protein shake on the way, and it's finished before they're leaving the locker room.
I'll tell you, Brian, that's what I do. I use the Banana Recovery, and I take it with me. I put a few ice cubes in a shaker bottle and the water in that. And as soon as I leave the pool and I get into the truck, I shake it up, and it's a treat. It's delicious. Actually, it's not, doesn't taste, chalky, and it's actually like a dessert for me. And I do it as soon as I can. And that's what they recommend. And I believe they recommend a second one, I believe, an hour later, just to make sure you're covered. So
yeah, that first one, as soon as you can, is very important. Yeah.
We'll start planning that, for when they get out of the pool, and give them something on the ride home.
Well, and I've got some. What I'll do is I've got some of this recovery protein. I'll bring it to the pool tomorrow and let everybody try a little bit, see what they think.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions?
This is Haley.
Hi, Haley.
My question was, are there any, I know you mentioned a couple, but are there any other protein shake brands that you recommend?
I know you have, Haley, you have a special circumstance with your digestive issues. And I know Carolyn and I would really like to sit down with you and your mom at some point because I know you're having severe bouts of acid reflux and you've lost so much weight. Carol and I have actually had a conversation about you in specific and would like to talk to you and your mom about what we can do to help you try to keep your weight on and keep that protein and give you some supplements that may help your stomach and may ease the pain a little bit. So yes, you and I will talk definitely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
You got it, my friend.
Thanks, Haley.
Anybody else? Awesome. Well, yes. Yeah. Kayla, go ahead.
I think Margie was going to ask if she could put rum in some of those banana protein drinks.
I guess at a high level, any time you're looking at any sort of supplements, I guess, knowing those have been so poorly regulated in our country,
yes.
Usually my first reaction is, well, why do you need it at all? This was one piece of it. And also part of what I thought we might discuss in this conversation tonight too is the whole question of, I think it's really confusing for athletes and kids growing up because so many adults are avoiding carbs. What is nutrition anymore if we're not eating, if you see all these adults avoiding carbs, how are you supposed to know other than protein and a lot of salads and fruit?
Well, that's a very, very good question. Very good statement. What we recommend for you and I's diet is a little bit different than what the girls need right now. These girls are pumping it out. This is kind of ground rules that are good. And this is one thing we talked about was we want to have this as an educational session tonight, not only for the athletes, but this is for us as well. I mean, we're not trying to only better the kids for the next practice and the next meet, but these are things that we can do to create good habits for life, because a lot of us have bad diet habits, myself included. I mean, the girls and I talked today about how potato chips are my downfall, absolute downfall. So I struggle to walk past that aisle in the grocery store every time I go. How can we know that something is safe? That's a conversation that we can have with you guys at another time. but you have to pick a company that you know is controlling every little thing, from growing the plants that they're growing to processing to packaging, every step of the way. And there's very few companies that do something like that. There's a lot of companies that take advantage of just the marketing of a product and selling it to whoever will be willing to throw the money down. But there are a few companies out there that take it all the way from grassroots all the way to the very end, and that's what we're talking about here. So we're trying to educate first and then connect you with a company that will provide that safe, but at the same time quality product that will help the athletes. And as far as, you know, yeah, all these diet fads of you don't want to eat carbs and you don't want to do this, and you don't want to do that. The basic rule of thumb is eat a well-balanced diet. Yes, these kids do need some carbs to fuel what they're doing, but there's a way to get those carbs that are better than some other ways that we're already giving it to them.
And so it's part of the reason we're even having a conversation about supplements at all, that they're just operating with so much calorie use because of the level of practice they're at. That's kind of why we're here, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to make sure that they're getting everything they need to get the most out of their training and their competition. That's it. We just want them to be the best that they can. You know, that's it. That's it. We want nothing more than that. We want our swimmers to be healthy. We want our swimmers to be successful. And we want our swimmers to lead happy lives. And so we're just trying to start it now to create those good habits. Because if somebody had told me when I was 13 to create better habits, then maybe my coach wouldn't have to ask me to eat 2 peanut butter jelly sandwiches and a glass of whole milk every night before I went to bed. But that's just kind of the way it happened. So that's all we're doing here. And we'll be glad to set up some time individually with each of you to answer all those other questions that you have.
Yeah, Margie, just, line up the questions. We're happy to do that. Didn't want to do anything like that in this forum, but that's why the individual time is very available for all those kinds of questions.
This was a kind of educational session to spark that thought and spark those questions so we can take it to the next level.